Hey, it's Daniel Jacob here with Everlasting Confidence, and I'm here with our model, Valerie, and we're going to talk to you about the 3 types of men that struggle to attract high-quality women. So, Valerie, welcome.
Thank you. Well, Daniel, tell me about the first type of man.
Yeah, so the first type of guy that struggles with women is what I call the fake confidence guy. So, Valerie, I'm sure you've seen this kind of guy around. He's, on paper, looks like he's really confident. He looks like he's really successful. You know, this is the guy that calls himself, a high value man. The guy that usually makes a lot of money, right? He could be a CEO, a successful salesperson, a guy that is doing really, really well financially. He's healthy too. He goes to the gym. He's in shape. So his life on paper, looks nearly perfect. But something's missing. Something's a little bit off. And when it comes to women, he just doesn't really get the women that he wants, right? You'll find this guy, settling a lot of the time, going for girls that in his mind are average or mediocre, but he doesn't feel quite good enough for the women that he really wants. So he overcompensates for this by kind of projecting this really outwardly confident, really masculine persona. Have you ever met this kind of guy, right? That you could tell something's a little bit off, but externally you really projects this confidence.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
It was recent, actually, here in Miami, I met a guy just like that. And he actually had just gotten out of a relationship that he had expressed to me that she just didn't feel like the one. And he was looking for more because he knew that he could get more. But he was a bit socially awkward, I would say. So I just thought that was where that was coming from. But
yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So the big thing with these guys, right, is that their success in their career and even with their health, with their hobbies, with their friends is a 10 out of 10. But when it comes to dating, for some reason, they're at a 4 or a 5 out of 10. And there's this huge gap between where they're at and where they could be. And the thing is that these guys have so much potential, right? They have a lot going for them, but they're missing out. And when they're, for example, here in Miami, you'll see at nice restaurants, a lot of beautiful women and, guys coming in with beautiful girls into these restaurants or on dates with beautiful girls. They're sitting there thinking to themselves, why not me? What is it about me that's different than this guy? I make just as much money as him. I look like him. I, have the same type of apartment as him, but for some reason, those women just, they don't notice me. So, what are your thoughts about this? What do you think this guy is really struggling with that's holding him back from getting to kind of that next level?
I think as women, especially if we're self-aware, we can almost sense when a man lacks security within himself. And that can also just kind of project on the way you interact with women, the things that you say, or just even a slight comment can mean a lot, So I don't know. I would say just some definitely internal insecurities that he might try to overcompensate with his job too, an overachiever type of thing, when in reality something more internal. But
that's a really good point. Actually, on our call a couple of days ago, one of the guys, he made a comment to you, right? And it came off very prideful.
Yeah.
And it was because there was some overcompensation.
Yeah.
There's something inside that he kind of didn't feel fully comfortable with. And it comes out in them saying certain snide or arrogant comments that just feel off.
I think
right?
it's part of the ego too,
Yeah.
It's just that little bit of hurt, and then they just have to show oh yeah,
Yep.
But
100%, yeah. And the thing with these guys, right, the way for them to really solve their challenges in dating isn't more achievements, right? It's not trying to make more money or getting a nicer watch or a nicer car. That's what a lot of these guys think they need to do, right? Is they're always in this competitive state with everybody else. But the real key is humility, is realizing that there's something internal, as you said, that is off. And that they need to address that it's a deeper emotional reason, right? It could be a difficult childhood, it could be a past breakup or something that, emotionally had an impact on them that they need to look at and really resolve, right? And when they can do that, that's the key to really like having that breakthrough.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So a lot of guys, for example, that are fake confidence guys, they struggle with vulnerability. And that's what holds them back from approaching and, you know, for example, like walking up to a new woman, they're scared to expose themselves, to make themselves vulnerable, right? Because they're always like wanting to like keep on a front. And I know I've been this way as well in the past. And I even still sometimes struggle with it. Can you tell when a guy has a front?
Yeah.
Can you spot it?
I think so.
Yeah?
I feel like I don't think every woman does, but I think if you, as I said, like when you're self-aware, they say the more you know yourself, the more you can like learn about others.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I can almost sense the projections and insecurities, and just like even like how a person speaks about themselves and how they speak about others.
Yeah.
You can tell a lot about that person, you know. I think there's a difference in being confident and being like cocky too.
Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, no, all that always just comes down to insecurities for sure.
And as a woman, right, you're very perceptive. So it's not just the words that you're really listening to. You're seeing the guy's eye contact, his body language, the tone of his voice, the way that he moves, right, his overall vibe. And there's little subtleties that you're going to pick up on that show you that there is this mismatch between how he's coming off and how he really feels inside.
That's true. Body language.
Yeah.
Body language says a lot too, yeah.
The truth is always shining through, right?
Yes.
So this guy, the biggest thing that he needs, in my opinion, is, because I've worked with so many of these guys, we've had so many of these guys, you know, apply for a program,
Yeah.
is to realize that having somebody help them is not a bad thing, right? Like being vulnerable doesn't equal them being weak,
Yeah.
right? Just because they need a little bit of help or they could get value from like mentorship or coaching, it doesn't mean that they're less of a man, right? Like the best athletes in the world, the best entrepreneurs, they all had mentors, right? They've all had somebody who challenged them, who was tough on them, who really like pushed them to the next level.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah. Because I find a lot of these guys, like they have a huge ego around getting help because they think that that's
Makes them less of a person.
less of a man. Exactly. Cool.
Yeah. I think even I myself have struggled with that too. Just like that need to kind of like prove yourself and like, no, it's better if I do it myself. I don't need help. But once you understand that like help is good and it can help you even get further, you know, it's just so much better.
Yeah, humility really comes down to two things, right? One is just this acceptance of your own humanness and imperfection. And then the second piece is a willingness to get help and to get support.
Yeah.
And if you look at the people that are elite in any area of life, because these guys could be elite, right? Like they could be crushing it if they admit that they're imperfect and that they want to get some help.
Exactly.
And that's actually attractive to you as a woman as well, right? When a guy approaches you and owns that he's nervous, that he's feeling a little bit shy, versus always needing to like put on that front, it's more attractive.
Yeah, I think the whole like front thing, it's very like toxic masculinity. That's kind of like shown even like through social media. I sometimes watch videos where men just say like, don't ever show like that you're sad, or don't ever show that you're down. And it's just like, you're human. You know, as a man, men struggle with so much like mental health problems and stuff like that because they feel like they can't even express themselves in any way because it's looked as weak.
Yep.
But in reality, I think women actually like that are in tune with themselves find that attractive because it means that you are connected to yourself. And if you're connected to yourself, you can better connect with others.
For sure. Yep. So let's talk about the next guy.
Tell me about him.
Yeah. So the next guy is the overthinker, right? So this guy has some similarities to this first guy. A lot of the time, these guys are in tech. They're software engineers. They do well, right? Financially, maybe they work in Silicon Valley. They work for companies like Instagram, Facebook. Just they're coders, lawyers, accountants, guys that are very like in their head most of the day. Okay. But when it comes to women, they really struggle. And they struggle because they're in their head. They struggle because they're so used to approaching everything from this like really logical, systematic place that they don't have a connection with their body. They don't have a connection with their emotions. But it's a different way than that first guy, right? The first guy just has a lot of pride and a lot of arrogance, and he doesn't want to show emotions because he thinks it's weak. He does feel them, he just doesn't want to show them. This guy is a little bit numbed out. So have you met guys like this? Like super logical guys?
I feel like I have, but I haven't really dated any like that, so I'm not very experienced. But you can tell me more about it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So these guys, this is another typical guy that comes to us that needs help in dating. Their issue a lot of the time is that they have massive anxiety. Because when you're in your head and you're numbing out your emotions, you're suppressing all the feelings inside of you, what happens is that those feelings don't have a channel for expression, right? There's no chance for that anxiety or for that nervousness that you feel to be shown or be expressed, so it leaks through, right? And it kind of just starts to cripple you and starts to take over your body, and it prevents you from taking risks, right? So these guys, a symptom that they have is that they're super, super risk averse. They're always playing safe. So they see beautiful women, maybe at the gym or at the grocery store, or just when they're at, let's say at a bar with friends, and they don't approach. Because they're always thinking, okay, she's going to judge me, she's going to reject me, the people around me are thinking this about me. So they're not in touch with themselves. They're way too concerned with what other people think, and that's why they don't have any power when it comes to dating.
That makes a lot of sense. Actually, I do feel like I have met men like that now that you explain it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about kind of what you've seen from these types of guys.
Well, with the overthinking part.
The overthinkers, yep.
I think it's just, as you said, just like getting in your head about things and worrying so much about like what others think. So it's almost kind of like it avoids you walking up to women because you're more concerned of how she's going to feel about you than how I guess he should feel about her.
Right.
Which is how you should approach dating, like what do I think about this person rather than what does this person think of me perspective. But I think even just being an overthinking, that can also lead to some like lack of self-worth, because you feel like you're not good enough maybe, and that's what kind of like gets you in your head. And
for some of these guys, it's extreme, right? It's like they believe that they need to say and do everything perfectly for things to go, right? So they're constantly analyzing every word they're saying. So they say something, for example, let's say I'm sitting here talking to you and I say something and I'm in my head thinking, okay, how did that sound? How is my tonality? Was what I said, like, let me like look in her eyes and see if she received it well.
Yeah.
Does she not receive it well, right? So everything is being put through like 100 different filters where like they just can't be themselves.
Yeah.
They can't be authentic.
It doesn't even let you like let the conversation flow or anything because you're like too much in your head. Damn, that must be really, really hard.
It's tough, right? And they can't connect with women because of that. They struggle to really build that like deep bond because they're so in their head and they're so analytical. So.
So what kind of work do you do with them?
Yeah, so these guys, the biggest thing they need is, well, two things, right? One is obviously getting in their body, learning how to feel their body, how to get out of their head, how to stop overthinking. Yeah. The second thing is they need to get comfortable with risk. The biggest thing stopping them from really achieving greatness in their life and just kind of settling for, okay, is unwillingness to take risk. So them going for what they want, them feeling fear, feeling anxiety and saying, you know what, I'm going to fucking do this anyways.
Yeah.
Because that's what I need to do. That's what they need to really step into to get to that next level in their dating life.
Okay.
Right? Start approaching, start saying the things that they want, start, even like expressing their desires to women, like sexually, start setting boundaries, right? So like removing that filter and really just like going for what they want. That's the key. It's all about risk and being okay with making mistakes.
Okay. About the third guy?
Yeah, let's talk about the third guy. So the third guy is the self-development junkie.
Okay.
So it's a funny name. I came up with it, but basically this is the guy that it's tough because like he's been through a lot in his life, right? He's been through emotional abuse a lot of the time. He's been through bullying. He's been through some really toxic relationships, right? Maybe he's been cheated on. He's been abandoned by women. He's just went through a lot, right? He's been through a lot of pain. And the way that this guy copes with all of this is that he just dives headfirst into this world of self-help and just tries to consume everything, right? He goes to therapy. He tries hypnosis. He tries reading 1,000 different books. He watches millions of YouTube videos, right? You're laughing, but you probably met people like that, right? It's like he goes on ayahuasca retreats. He like literally tries everything. And some of it works a little bit. Some of it usually doesn't work very much. Now, this guy, like, I deeply empathize with him because that used to be me. Like, I went through a lot growing up, and I tried a million different things. And that's why, you know, I do what I do, is because I figured out, like, what works and what doesn't work. But the biggest challenge this guy usually has in his dating life is that he doesn't feel like enough, right? He doesn't feel like he's worthy. So it's a very deep-rooted thing, and he's very aware of it too, right? He knows the amount of pain that he's going through. He knows that he doesn't feel like he's worthy, like as a man. He doesn't feel like attractive enough, good enough. And he tries to fill that with all these different like techniques and modalities and different kind of books and strategies out there. So have you met guys like this?
I feel like kind of connected to that, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like I even have struggled with that.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't met a guy like that. But I can relate to what you're saying as a woman.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not just guys that do this, women that do this too, right? But the thing about this guy, right, at the core, he doesn't think that he's good enough just as he is. So what he feels he needs to do is use all of these different books and videos and podcasts to like complete himself. That he's looking for like the secret or that one little trick that's going to fix everything. That's going to completely change everything, right? Whether it's like that, you know, the right words to say to a woman or the right mindset to have, right? He's always looking for that one thing. And the other thing is that he's really scattered. So he's constantly jumping from one thing to the next thing to the next, trying all these different methodologies. And he's never really going deep with one thing, right? So that's the real key for this guy, is that instead of doing a million different things, he needs to find one mentor, right? Somebody who's like really good at what he does, who really can hold him accountable, help him execute, help him really uncover, right? Like the deep, deep rooted stuff that holds him back, and really help him go through that full transformation. Instead of trying to build this like Frankenstein out of a million different courses and books.
No, that makes a lot of sense actually.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing about this guy is that usually he struggles with what I call the nice guy syndrome. Have you heard about the nice guy syndrome?
Yes, I have, yeah.
So have you met guys like that?
Yeah,
like
sure.
Classic nice guys?
Yeah. I feel like they always just get friend zoned.
Why?
Why
do you friend zone those guys?
They're too nice. And it's almost like I think it's almost the same for women too. If you're too nice, people treat you as a doormat.
Yeah.
Because they take your kindness for granted, you know.
Sure.
But I also think it depends on the kind of woman, because like a hurt woman will probably not want the nice guy because she's hurt within herself. So she wants, within herself, so she wants some sort of like toxicity or something like that.
Sure.
But like a proper woman would appreciate the kindness.
But there's a difference though between being kind and being nice. So here's the difference, right? This guy that I'm talking about, usually the nice guy persona is like an act that he puts on to cover up the pain and that feeling of like not being good enough, right? So he is nice because he can't be anything but nice, right? That's the paradigm he operates from. He's like, I need to be sweet and I need to be very kind and I need to, buy women gifts and take them out to dinner and compliment them. And if I do that, maybe I have a chance, right? Maybe they're gonna like me. Maybe I can like win her over.
Yeah. Okay.
But
he's overcompensating.
He's overcompensating, right?
Okay, I see that.
And it's interesting, right? Because the one guy that's like fake confident, he's overcompensating by being arrogant and by being like really douchey, where this guy overcompensates by being overly sweet,
Okay,
overly nice.
I see that.
Yeah.
Huh. That's very interesting, actually.
But on your point though, about women, like healthy women wanting a guy that's really kind, what healthy women really want, and you tell me if you agree,
Security.
is they want a guy that has the capacity to be assertive and to be dominant and to be confident, but also who could switch, like change gears and be kind and be loving
Of course.
and go back and forth. And who's integrated, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it just have to be connected to both like your masculine side and your feminine side, you know?
Sure.
Just be able to, be assertive, be confident, but also, be vulnerable, have those moments to be open for connection.
Absolutely. Awesome. Guys, so if you're watching this and you resonate either with the fake confident guy, the overthinker, or the self-development junkie, and you want our help actually solving this, right? Going deep to the root and helping you break through some of these negative beliefs, some of these mental and emotional blockages that you have, and really becoming naturally confident with women so that you could approach women, connect with them, and really build healthy relationships. What I invite you to do is click the link below, watch our documentary, book in a call with me, and if it's a fit, we'll invite you to join the Everlasting Confidence Accelerator program.